Folks, we're back. It's only been a couple days, but we're back because, well, convenience has dictated that. And if not for convenience, why else would we be recording this podcast? You know, it's all about our convenience at the end of the day. Hey, we're making this free tangy tent for you wonderful people. So whatever works for us will work for you. But Quigster, how we doing today, my friend?
Doing great. We can do whatever we want, Steve. This is our show. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't need a set time. This is our show. We run this bitch. So
we do indeed run.
Well, really, you run this bitch. I'm just kind of like I'm certainly the Robin in the Batman and Robin.
You are.
But
the Adam West. It's the Adam West Batman.
I'm the good. Yeah.
I'm sorry you're wearing the leggings and the tight green shorts, but that's just how it is. But this is too goofy to be any other iteration of Batman, except for maybe Batman and Robin, the film, the Joel Schumacher film. And
yeah,
you don't want that. That one's like, it's too glittery.
That's not endearing.
It's not. It's not. He has a credit card that says Batman Forever. It's no bueno. But the Arnold Schwarzenegger freeze puns are still an all-timer and a Flyperbole favorite. That's
Uma Thurman's in that one too, isn't she?
Uma Thurman is indeed in that one. She's Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy, yeah.
Yes. I not into it in that one. Not my favorite Uma look right there. I like Uma's at her best when she's in a yellow jumpsuit, slicing and dicing people all over the place.
Yes, she's the best in that iteration.
Kill Bill. It's just come on.
It's perfect.
Talk about Kill Bill all day.
I'm one of the people who thinks that Kill Bill Volume 2 is better than Volume 1. That's not to say that
we're disagreeing there.
Adore them both. I love Kill Bill 2 so much.
This sounds like a good summer pod right there.
I was going to say
I would love to talk about this because I'm fascinated about this because I am more of a fan of 1 than 2. Emily is more of a fan of 2 than 1. So
Emily's
this is a good. I think you're both wrong, but that's my 2 cents on the matter, and it sounds like a summer ep to me. So
it is.
We'll get into that there, but
we got some flyer stuff to cover, Steve.
We got some flyer stuff to cover. We got draft stuff galore. The draft is rapidly approaching.
It is.
And we're excited, folks, because guess what? We're throwing the draft party yet again with our friends over at PHLY, Bill and Charlie. The whole gang is going to be together. Bill, Charlie, and Kelly's with us, but she's also with them. But hey, they're all there. So we're all throwing this party together. And be sure it's ticketed this year, okay? So it's not just a show your ass up and whatever happens, happens. It's ticketed this year, so grab your ticket in advance. It's only $5, $5 dues, okay? That's not a lot of hard-earned cash out of your pocket right there, okay? $5 dues. And I think you get some food with it or something. Who cares? It's $5. Come on out. Watch the draft with us. Get some cold ones. It's going to be a damn good time. We're going to crush some Bud Heavies. I will not drink a Bud Heavy unless somebody orders one for me. But we're going to crush some Bud Heavies and have a damn good time watching these teenagers get drafted by hockey teams.
Steve, I'm glad you mentioned that we have to buy tickets because I almost forgot. And it would be real sad if I didn't even get to go to our own draft party because I forgot to buy a $5 ticket. So,
I think I can find a way to smuggle you in. I could do it.
I mean, I'm sure you could, but
we'll just order some very unnecessary equipment for recording the podcast, and we'll just put you in a giant thing that we're wheeling in. Yeah. And we're it's audio equipment. It's not like a 6 foot something man.
No, of course it's audio. It's
just audio equipment. It's speakers and such microphones.
Don't worry about it. Don't take a peek inside.
As opposed to the funny thing is my recording setup is not complicated. I don't have a soundboard or anything. It's just it's literally my laptop and my mic and my headphones. So it's not much. And I can even record off my phone, which I probably will end up doing on the draft. But yeah, it's not much. But yeah, we're going to say it's a lot so we can smuggle quickly in so he doesn't have to spend $5 dues.
Oh, yes. That would be optimal. Don't want to be doing that. So.
Now, Quigster, the Flyers have the number 6 pick, as we all know. And we're pretty sure they're going to make this pick. There's a lot of good players available. They'll probably get a center at 6. And that is a high point of debate. But you, in the Slack chat just a little bit ago, put a very spicy take in there that I think we need to explore, because this is such a spicy meatball that I think it will blow everybody's mind to put it out there. So, Quigs, what was your take for what the Flyers should do with the number 6 overall?
Well, and yes, this is a spicy meatball, but someone suggested, I believe it was Jeff Merrick. He reported earlier today, I assume. Yes, it was earlier today. He basically said the Pittsburgh Penguins are trying to move up from their, what are they? I believe 11.
11 is what they're picking at. Yes.
Yes. So they're trying to move up. And listen, my proposal is Crosby for number 6, straight up. Who says no?
Oh, wow.
What's wrong with that trade?
Shit. Hachi Machi. Spicy damn meatball from Ryan Quigley here. So Sidney Crosby.
What is wrong with that trade? It makes sense for the Flyers. Like,
that's win now mode right there.
That's win now mode. Listen, imagine Sidney Crosby and Matvei Michkov together.
Crosby, Michkov, and Konechny. What a line.
Wow. That would be
There's some jam in that line right there.
There is some jam. Yeah. That would be very, very nice.
And not only does it solve the Flyers 1C problem, because Crosby sadly has a lot of juice left. He has a lot of gas left in that tank right there.
He's
like Crosby is still really freaking good at hockey. But on top of that, like, it solves the 1C problem, but also there is nothing funnier than the idea of Pittsburgh Penguins fans having to deal with Sidney Crosby ending his career in a Flyers jersey. Like, that's the funniest damn timeline. It's the one that M. Rupp, who used to be with BSH,
I was about to say. I was just
been manifesting with just the most atrocious jersey I've ever seen. M. Rupp has this Flyers Sidney Crosby jersey that I don't know why they made it. I have no idea why, but
no.
It's such an atrocity. It makes me sick to my stomach, but it's also really friggin' funny. And it might just be manifesting this moment right here. Now, we're realistic. This obviously is an insane proposal that will never happen, but it'd be really goddamn funny. I was also saying just the idea of, because Pittsburgh is trying to trade into, a higher pick. And it makes sense, right? Because like this draft is so top heavy. You really want somebody in the top 10, and more, you want to be in the top 6 if you can be. And Pittsburgh would love to move down to 6, right? Because you're still going to get a really, really good player at 6. But if the Flyers traded the 6 to Pittsburgh, imagine all the anger that we heard over Steve Bouillon last year. Okay. Dude. It would be that times a million, because you see that guy in the division, whoever they draft, every damn time. And every time they'd score against the Flyers, you'd be like, that could have been our guy.
Yeah.
That could have been our guy. And knowing the Flyers' luck, whoever it would be amazing. It would be like Hagens, and he just destroy us.
Yeah, it would be crazy. And, again, it's none of this is going to happen. Like the Flyers and Penguins, didn't they just make their first, like, trade with each other, like, for the first time in forever, semi-recently? It was like a totally inconsequential trade. It was not, I think it was like a swap of like late round picks or something like that. I might be making this up. Who's to say? But I know that the Flyers and Penguins do not trade with each other. They do not do business. So
the Flyers are not big on the interdivisional trades. It does not happen very often. The one notable exception, of course, is the Eric Lindros trade, where he was sent to the Rangers. They got Kim Janssen and some other garbage back. But, that was a unique circumstance. We'll just put it like that. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen often. And it doesn't happen with perhaps you could say the second greatest player in franchise history, maybe the third, but he's top 3. That's for sure. You can debate where he is in the top 3, which is an interesting debate. So out of Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, and Sidney Crosby, how do you rank those 3 for Pittsburgh Penguins history?
Oh, Jagr, Lemieux. So I'm putting Lemieux number 1.
Right. I do too.
Then I'm putting Sid. Then I'm putting Jágr, because so much of Jágr's career was with other teams.
Okay, so if you're going specifically with his time with the Penguins, that's interesting. I'm going with like overall work, but that's interesting.
Yeah, well, like to me, like I think Sid has a leg up because he was always a Penguin. And I think obviously Mario has a leg up not only because he's just legitimately the number one player in the franchise's history, but he was also always a Penguin. Jágr was obviously a great Penguin for a long, long time, but then he left the NHL, comes back, goes to New York. Then he goes to Washington, or no. He went to Washington first, then New York.
Yep.
Then he goes, what was after that? Where?
Well, then he went to Europe for a while. He played back in the Czech and all that. And then he came back to here, the Flyers. To Philadelphia, PA. He went back to Philadelphia, PA. And then he went all over
Dallas.
He went to New Jersey. I think it was New Jersey first, right?
No, because he went to, I think he went to Dallas, then Boston.
I thought it was Florida before any of those.
No, Florida was after the Devils.
We're looking it up. We're getting it. We're looking this up because it's an
insane
insane career. Let's see. So it was Pittsburgh, Washington, New York, Philly, Dallas, Boston, New Jersey, Florida, Calgary.
And then Calgary was like completely...
Calgary barely counts. It's 22 games. He scored 7 points. Florida was pretty significant, though. I mean, he was good. Numbers, he was good, and he was good in Jersey too. Yeah, so, I know that one pissed me off.
Yeah, he was really good there.
I will never understand to this day why Holmgren, who brought him back in the first place from the other side of the world, decided not to bring him back to the Flyers the following season after he was amazing with Claude Giroux and Scott Hartnell.
Yeah,
made
that
no
was
sense
a weird. It didn't make any sense, and he was good. It's not like he was some
54 points.
Yeah, it's not like he was some like bottom of the lineup guy who just got hot. Like he had chemistry with the Flyers young guys. Like he was good, like legit good.
I was calling that line the G unit. It was a great friggin' line. I loved them. But so I was thinking more just overall great players who wore Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys, but you make a good case right there as far as like time played as a Penguin for greatest Penguins. So it's interesting regardless, because like I would think it's Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jágr, Sidney Crosby, but like they're three, like it's just unfair that the Penguins have maybe the greatest Mount Rushmore in hockey history. It's just like insane, and I hate it. I think the only team that might have a greater one would be the Oilers.
I was gonna say,
especially now that they have McDavid
and Draisaitl and Gretzky and
Messier,
and
Yari Curry.
Yeah, Yari Curry.
And Paul Coffey can be on both of theirs.
Grant Fuhr.
Grant Fuhr was very good for his era, but obviously the era does not have the greatest numbers for goaltenders right there. No. Grant Fuhr is a legend nonetheless, absolute legend. But so I don't think they get rid of the 6, let alone to the Penguins. It is funny though that the Penguins are trying to get up into the top 10 somewhere, and there's some interesting partners. They can maybe move up a couple. I don't think anybody in the top 7 is going to move around too much though. And I especially think the Flyers at 6 are not. Now, one of the things that has come up this week is who will the Flyers get? Who's going to fall? Because the only 2 that seem assured at this point are that Schaefer and Misa are going top 2. We're not sure the exact order, but probably top 2.
I'd be stunned if that's not what happens.
I'd be stunned too. And after that, that's where we get really spicy, because Caleb Desnoyers, Elliott's brother, has really risen up the ranks. And he was a guy who, when we first found out we had the 6th, a lot of people were projecting Desnoyers to come to the Flyers at 6. And because he fits the profile, right? Smart player, good two-way skill, it really is like a complete player that the Flyers can plug into the top of the lineup. It will complement Michkov really well. But because of all those factors, and because he seems like a real steady Eddie, now teams are talking about maybe taking him 3 or 4. And I've seen projections for both of that. Just looking at Wheeler over at The Athletic had a mock the other day where he went Schaefer 1, Misa 2, Frondell 3 to Chicago, Desnoyers 4th to Utah, Martone 5th to Nashville, and then Hagens falling all the way to 6th in Philadelphia. And that's another thing we're talking about in the Slack chat the other day, where there's some people in Flyers land who were scared that the team is not going to make the right choice if it comes to that, and they will not take Hagens because of his size. And I understand the fear, but I am willing to give Danny Briere and Keith Jones the benefit of the doubt on this until they prove me otherwise, because I feel like so much of the projection is just based on the old school Flyers reputation.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think people are a little bit upset about the Zeev Buium situation from last year too. I think over, like, at this point, a lot of people are probably quite happy with Jetlachenko. But I feel like a lot of people really wanted Zeev. Zeev has already played. Well, I guess they both played in the NHL. They both have. But
Jet beat him out. Jet was first.
Yeah, you're right. But and he's so young. Jet is so young.
Jet's so young, and I loved what I saw from him. I really liked a lot of what I saw from Jet. But Buium definitely has a lot of skill and would be a valuable part of this defense moving forward if the Flyers had picked him. But I don't know. I was looking back at projections, and it seemed like Buium was supposed to go a lot earlier than where he went in that draft. So what I always reassure myself with is, like, the Flyers aren't the only team that didn't pick Buium.
Right. Yeah. No, he fell. He fell for a reason, and I'm curious to know why that happened.
Is it all agent based? Is it character based? Is it something with his
college
game?
Based? Like, are people scared to get him because he's a U.S. hockey player who plays collegiate? Like,
because I don't buy for a second that line that Briere gave us, where he told us, like, well, we already have, it's redundant with some of the other defensive guys we have. Like, I think if anything, you can look back at the Nolan Patrick draft and the fact that they passed over Heiskanen and, I don't know, just Cale Makar. You ever heard of him? And look at that as proof that you can never have too much of a good thing, right? Like, if there's somebody, and again, I will say to the day I die, Nolan Patrick was the consensus number 2 pick. I'm done with that debate. But if you need evidence, right, that, okay, just because we already have an offensive defenseman, a smaller guy, well, what is Buium smaller? I don't know. He's just more of an offensive guy, right? Just because you have an offensive defenseman, and they had that in Shane Gostisbehere at the time, doesn't mean that you shouldn't get another dynamic talent. You draft the best player available. Okay. Yeah. And that's why I think if it comes down to, like, if, like, Martone falls to 6, I'm very happy drafting Martone, even though he's a winger, because he's the best guy available. But I think there was something about Buium that they did not like. And I think it was not just based entirely on his style of play.
Yeah, this is a really, really interesting draft, because I feel like there's been so much movement specifically in this top 10. Like, last season, there was talk about Porter Martone being the number 1 overall pick.
Like, and Hagens, I think, also had a lot of talk like that.
James Hagens as well. They both were in the running to be to go number 1 overall. Then this season, Matthew Schaefer comes out of nowhere. I shouldn't say out of nowhere, because it's not like he was, under the radar, but he comes out of the woodwork, and now he's the consensus number 1. And then you got Michael Misa, who, there was some hype around him as well, but I don't think people were really expecting him. Like, there was a time a few months ago where people were thinking he could go 4th. Now he's number 2, and there's not even a question about it,
Misa rocked it out this season. He had an unbelievable year.
He was great. But then, you have Desnoyers, who was ranked, maybe, there was a chance, of pretty solid chance, maybe a month ago, that the Flyers could nab him at 6. Now, who knows if he'll even make it past 3 or 4. And then of course there are guys who are just coming out of nowhere, like Brady Martin, Jake O'Brien. Like, there's just so much movement in this top 10 area. It's so hard to pin it down, and it just makes for a really, really intriguing draft night. I think it's going to be a fun draft party. I think
I'm really excited about the draft party, and I feel like I know more this year than I have in some of the years past. And I think part of that is having a top 6 pick. You really just get to narrow it down to like 7 or 8 names that you have to really like learn about. So I think part of that has really helped me with that. But yeah, I have more of a 2 cents to put in on this than I have in years past. One of the fascinating things that I've noticed as far as a trend goes this year is people are talking about who teams took out to dinner. Look who's coming to dinner. Who'd they get have a meal with, And notably the Flyers had dinners with Brady Martin and, Mr. O'Brien over there, another Jake O'Brien, of course. Yeah. I'm not scared. Okay. A lot of people are scared about getting another Jay O'Brien. I ain't scared. I made jokes about it.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. Bring on another Jay O'Brien because I think that's anti-Irish discrimination and I'm not here for it. Okay.
And he can't,
there's not here for it.
There's no possible way he can be worse than the OG Jay O'Brien. It can't happen.
He never played a second in the NHL.
He never touched the NHL.
No. And he never will. Poor bastard. But
did he even play in the AHL?
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna do some research on that.
You do some research on that. I will but it's so funny to me that people are just like, Will, I heard that the Flyers had dinner with these guys, and that must mean that they're gonna draft one of them. Like, okay.
How do you think that process works? Do they ask you where you want to go to dinner? Or do they say, hey, we're taking you out to this restaurant tonight?
We're going to Del Frisco's tonight. That's where we're going.
If you're a prospect,
I think they make the team makes the decision. And I'll tell you why. Because teenagers are idiots, especially when it comes to food, because they'll just go to fucking Applebee's or something, or just like some dumb bullshit. Like, just get McDonald's. Yeah. No, we're going to a nice restaurant and you're going to order a steak like a man.
That's right. Yeah. And also I feel like that's one of their weird ways of figuring out the maturity of the player is saying like, hey, we're going to get this real weird ass obscure food. And if they're cool with it, then they're like, all right, that's a green flag. Real quick, Steve, Jay O'Brien never played a single game in the AHL. Do you know what team he registered? According to Elite Prospects, he registered no stats this past season in the ECHL. Would you like to know the team that he was playing for?
I'd love to know. Is it like the Lake Erie Monsters or something?
That's an AHL team. They're too good.
That's right. I'm sorry.
They're too good for Jay.
Apologies to the Lake Erie Monsters. It's a great name.
I say all this in the most loving way. I'm sure Jay O'Brien is an awesome dude. Sure. Not good at hockey.
No. So he was drafted 14th overall and never sniffed professional.
He is apparently on the Savannah Ghost Pirates, Steve.
Excuse me?
The ECHL's Savannah Ghost Pirates.
The Savannah Ghost Pirates?
Yeah.
I do declare the Savannah Ghost Pirates is the greatest team name I've ever heard.
It's wonderful. It really is. Aside from
I'm so sorry to all their southern listeners.
Only thing better is the Orlando Solar Bears. That's so
I love this. The Solar Bears have a killer logo. They are great. And I apologize to all our southern listeners, all like 2 of them, which I think it's Eamon and Steph. That's pretty much it. Savannah Ghost Pirates, you said?
You never heard of the Savannah Ghost Pirates?
No, I've never heard of the fucking Savannah Ghost Pirates. Why would I have heard of the Savannah Ghost Pirates?
It's because I remember when they became an AHL team or ECHL team a couple years ago, people were stoked about the team name and the logo. It's just super fun.
Is sick.
It's a sick logo. The uniforms are sick. Awesome town.
I hear Savannah's a lot of fun.
Beautiful.
I've never been to Savannah, but I hear you can just drink out in the open, which is
it's open carry. You can just walk around.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Awesome mascot. Awesome logo. Awesome threads. It's great. I would love to go to a Savannah Ghost Pirates game.
So there you go. Road trip to the Ghost Pirates game. Oh my God. This mascot is unbelievable.
It's the best.
Oh,
It's
he
the
glows
best.
in the dark. He's wearing like a tuxedo jacket and a pirate hat.
It's so
That
sick.
friggin' rocks. Yes.
The only thing he's missing is like a beard because he's supposed to be.
But he's a
pirate.
ghost. Ghosts don't typically have a beard.
What are you talking about? Yes, they can.
I didn't say they can't, but they don't typically.
Says who?
It says pop culture. Also, ghosts aren't real.
I mean, I agree, but
here's the thing. He's more of a cartoon ghost, right?
Right. Cartoon
type,
ghosts. Yeah.
And he's like a Casper type ghost. Okay. So yeah, I guess by definition, a ghost, if you had a beard in real life, your ghost should have a beard.
Right,
But
right.
if you're more a cartoony ghosts don't.
I agree.
What a
with.
debate we just had.
That I agree with. Yeah, that was weird.
That's as Flyperbole a debate as we could possibly have is, can ghosts have beard? Man, I have a lot of episode title options right now, and I'm excited about that. But yeah, Savannah Ghost Pirates up in the power rankings right there. I think that's another off-season episode right there, is ranking minor league names, because I am obsessed with the minor leagues for every sport. And that's the great thing about hockey and baseball, is they have a rich minor league culture. Whereas like basketball kind of dipped their toes in, but it's like really not much. And then like football doesn't have a minor leagues unless you consider Canadian and the USFL.
USFL, yeah. I guess that's the
USFL?
minors now. Yeah.
I guess so. But it's like the real minors. It's more the washout than the minors, though.
You're right. But
Yeah.
So Jay O'Brien is apparently property of the Savannah Ghost Pirates of the ECHL. He has not logged any stats in either the ECHL or the AHL.
Well, just like I ain't afraid of no ghost, I ain't afraid of no Jay O'Brien. So
No.
I'm okay if Jake O'Brien ends up getting drafted there by the Flyers. I like a lot of what I've heard about Jake O'Brien, but if Hagens or Martone is available, and frankly,
You have to take,
one of them should be, or Frondell. I want one of those three guys.
Yeah,
okay?
those are my three guys. I like Martone because of the fact that like you could argue that he's like a top 3 player in this draft, but he's not going to go that high because he's not a center or a defenseman. So like I really like Martone. Hagens is my guy. I want Hagens.
Get Martone, trade for Marco Rossi.
Boom. Amazing.
I can't say it enough. But yeah, I would love Hagens. Like, I know Hagens is undersized at 5'10". Shut up. It doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, I'm not saying shut up to you. I'm saying shut up to the haters, because he's great. I have loved everything I've heard about him. He was supposed to be he should have been top 3 in this draft. Like, it's only recently that he's really fallen. If he's available at 6, I'm going to boo the shit out of the Flyers at our own draft party if they don't pick him. I'm going to drive to Atlantic City and scream in Danny Briere's face, "What's wrong with you? What are you doing?"
And also, he killed it at the World Juniors this year. He was really good. So it just, like, I don't know where this random, if it's really because of size that he's sliding down draft boards, that's dumb. That's so stupid. Like
maybe Danny Briere. I Irished up Danny Briere there.
Briere, yeah.
Danny Briere is over here using his leprechaun powers to talk shit on James Hagens. No, I think Danny Briere, maybe he's just like, quietly pushing stuff out there, like Bart Simpson in the back of a bank going like, "What do you mean he's too small? Oh yeah, Hagens can't play in the NHL." Yeah, so he's just spreading the rumors out there.
Yeah.
And then
let's hope.
Drops. And then Danny Briere clutches him up and he takes him, and then just trade up and get your big body with McQueen at like 10, right? No, don't do that. But
it's not like small centers can't work in the NHL. Like, I'll give you a secret, Steve. You know who's a really good center in the NHL? I'll say was, but Claude Giroux. Not a big guy, not a large man at all. And here's the thing: like, James Hagens is 5'11", 185. That is totally suitable. You know who he's taller than? Future Flyer Sidney Crosby.
Oh, wow. Who's made a pretty good career off of being regular, like a slightly above average size man, and good at hockey. Yeah. How about that?
Excuse me. He's the same height as Sidney Crosby.
Oh, okay. So there we go. We're all the same height and the same weight, because I'm definitely 185 pounds, give or take 200.
And James Hagens is going to put up the same stats as Sidney Crosby when he joins the Flyers.
As long as he doesn't put up the same stats as me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Which is the same stats as Jay O'Brien.
Yeah. Dude.
Welcome to the Jay O'Brien dunk hour right here.
I feel bad for Jay, if you're listening, dog. We support you in your career with the Ghost Pirates.
It is so funny too that Brady Martin is the name we're all dreading, but like I feel like if the Flyers didn't have number 6 and they had like number 8, I would be very okay with Brady Martin.
Yes.
But like at 6, it just feels like you could get some like high end talent here. So you got to take that swing. But like Brady Martin, I'm just like the obsession over him though is so friggin' funny and the rising because he's a big hitter. And look, he sounds like a good hockey player. He sounds like he'd be a fan favorite. He sounds like he's probably a top 6 forward, top 6 center. So I like a lot about Brady Martin, but yeah, I don't like him at 6. It sounds like Boston's going to take him. Every mock I'm seeing has Boston taking Brady Martin.
If the Flyers don't take him, I would have he's not getting past Boston
or Utah. I've seen some stuff about Utah maybe reaching for him, which that shakes up things quite a bit for the Flyers if Utah takes Brady Martin.
That would be interesting. But I feel like it is very much a textbook Flyers pick, right? I could see them doing it, but also like, listen, man, I can see them going after. I really could see them taking Hagens. I could.
I think they realize that the big thing they need for this team is high end talent, right?
Yes,
they need
Hagens
scoring,
has that.
And Hagens has that exactly.
And so does Martone. Martone and Hagens both have that. And like
Brady Martin, really like Martone. I would be very okay with Martone because can you imagine like a top 6 wingers, right? And you've got Martone up there, you've got Michkov, you've got Forrester, and
oh my god,
like
it'd be amazing.
It's just sick. Trade Tippett for a center, and you're cooking with gas.
Now, granted, this is not to say that Brady Martin is useless scoring wise. Like he had 72,
there's a reason
he had 72 points
riser.
in 57. He had 72 points in 57 games this season.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty good. But it's just I would rather have someone who is just a little bit more with more skill. I want them to take a guy who has the potential to be a hockey god. And I feel like of the people who may be there when the Flyers are on the clock, I feel like Hagens has the highest potential of being a hockey god potentially one day. And it's not like Hagens was even bad in college. He was a point per game player at BC. He plays for a team called the Eagles, Steve. The Flyers have to draft him. Yes. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Absolutely. You're wearing a bird shirt right now, right?
I am. Yes.
Excellent.
It's very
I can tell by the font.
It's very washed out.
Oh, that makes it better. That makes it better in my opinion.
Well, I feel like if I wash it 3 more times, there will be no letters. So
well, then you can't wash it anymore. Yeah.
I guess not.
It's bad luck to wash it at this point, so just don't do it. But so Corey Pronman put out another ranking this week. Not a mock draft, a ranking, okay? This ranking had Schaefer 1, Misa 2, Martone 3, Desnoyers 4, Hagens 5, Frondell 6, O'Brien 7, Eklund 8, McQueen 9, and Martin at 10. And look, I got some problems with Corey Pronman sometimes, right? But he watches these prospects a lot more than I do. And if him and Wheeler are both like ranking Martin a little bit lower, I feel like that's a buyer beware situation because I think you'll look pretty foolish if you turn down like Hagens or Frondell for a guy like Martin or even Martone.
What's interesting is that one of the more trusted, draft rankings is Uncle Bob McKenzie. And he had him ranked at 13, which is crazy given the hype that Brady Martin is getting. So,
I listen to Uncle Bobby above everything else. All right, Uncle Bob, we miss you. Bobby Margs, noted Flyperbole sayer. He said the name of the show one time. But Bobby Margs, like he is my guy.
Let me also kind of give context to this. This ranking was from January, so a lot has changed since then.
But I had a more recent ranking from him. So I'll pull that up. But you keep talking
Go get it
while I pull that up.
Yeah, but no, like this one that I'm looking at is from January. This is from the Elite Prospects page. So I assume this is. I didn't know that he released another one.
Yeah, there's one from TSN, and this is from May 2nd. So on the May 2nd one,
this is from Uncle Bob.
Yes, it's from Uncle Bob. What do you think? I'm just like making stuff up here? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, Steve.
I don't make stuff up about hockey, except when I do. He has Brady Martin at 12 in this one from.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's very
his ranking from May 2nd. He went Schaefer, Misa, Martone, Frondell, Hagens, Desnoyers, O'Brien, McQueen, Eklund, Jackson Smith, Brady Martin, and Brady Martin.
Okay. Yeah. So in that situation, let's see. At 6, it's Caleb Desnoyers for the Flyers. If everything goes exactly the way that Uncle Bob says it would, Caleb Desnoyers would be there at 6. But dude, I am not expecting him to be there. I'm really not.
No. All the hype. I mean, this is what, a month and a half ago now, just about. So a lot has changed since then. Yeah. And I heard Desnoyers during the what do they call it when they take all their measurements and shit? It's weird. The combine.
Okay, yeah.
I heard in interviews at the combine, Desnoyers really, really came off well to a lot of teams, which is not surprising based on the kind of player that I've heard he is. So, yeah, he's a riser for sure. And at this point, I'm expecting Desnoyers to be a top 4 guy.
Well, and Brady Martin crushed it at the combine as well. I mean, we're hearing all these teams are just drooling over this kid. And
they're like a big hitter.
It makes you wonder. And it makes me wonder, like, if Boston, could it be a situation where Boston's like so desperate to get this Brady Martin kid, they know that the Flyers might take him. Would they consider moving up one spot? Because that's what the Minnesota Wild did for Zibuya. So
I'm into it. I'm into it big. I'm totally into, like, as long as you get one of these top 6 players, and I'm going by the Uncle Bobby rankings here on who those top 6 are, right? As long as you get one of those top 6 players, I don't care what you got to do maneuvering wise, okay? But get one of those guys, because those seem like the guys. Again, I'm not going to be devastated if they end up with O'Brien. I'm going to be a little salty if they end up with Martin, but like, I also will probably love him as soon as he crushes somebody at the NHL level.
You will be losing our minds. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he could be a fan favorite. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm dreading it, but not really, because I think he sounds like fun. But the real question mark still falls down to Roger McQueen over here, his 6'5" and a quarter ass right here. And McQueen did get cleared for the combine, but I don't fuck with back injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into it.
I'm not into it, but I'm into it if you have a later pick and he falls. If
he slides, then maybe, that's when you consider it. But now he would have to slide really far. Maybe that's a situation where the Flyers would consider trading up to get him if he slides to like the early 20s.
Yeah.
But like,
I
would not take him at 6, not at all.
If the Flyers are further back, this is like, if they were in like the 10 range, I would consider taking him there, because like, you need to take more of a swing after you get out of this top 6, or I would say 8 at this point, because like, it seems like Jake O'Brien's really solid. It seems like Brady Martin could be really solid, but we'll see. And there's some good names here. I've heard some good stuff about Carter Bear, for instance, and Brady Martin, but it really seems like, that top 6 is where you want to be, and that's where the Flyers are. So, you know what? Don't fuck around. Don't trade it. Just stay where you are. Don't screw around.
Don't overthink.
Get one of these good guys.
Get the best player you can. I don't care if he's a center, if he's a wing. Get the guy who's going to be the best player.
It's our job to overthink it. It's not your job, Daddy Briere.
Well, I mean,
actually, it is actually his
GMs
job
do it all the time. So
but just trust your scouts. Let's just go with that. Don't be a Ron Hextall. Trust your guys.
Would not hate if Anton Frondell was there either.
No, I'm into Frondell big time. If Frondell falls, sign me up. I'm in.
He's thick too. He's 6'1", 200. Thick boy. So
big thick boy. All right. Love a thick boy.
What?
You know who else is a big thick boy? And I heard might be on the trade block. Jason Robertson.
What are the Stars doing? I don't know what they're doing right now. Like why this is even out there is crazy to me. Like,
it shouldn't even be like a thought in their head, because Jason Robertson is a stud. Okay. 25 years old, going to be 26 in July, 6'3", 207. Oh, just amazing point totals over the last 4 years. 79 points in 21-22, 109 points in 22-23, 80 points in 23-24, and 24-25. It's just ridiculous. He's in his prime now. And frankly, you will get a haul if you trade him, but according to, what was this, an Elliot Friedman quote on SN 590, Jason Robertson's name is out there. Could be moved to make room for a Granlund extension if Dumba or Lyubushkin can't be shipped out. Excuse me, if you trade Jason Robertson to keep Mikael Granlund in his mid-30s,
old guy,
that's insane. Okay, that's like, I think you need to actually resign if you make that trade. Like, that's just like, that would only be the second worst trade out of Dallas this year, but it wouldn't be, it'd be pretty disastrous nonetheless, because of course, I'm realizing now that this hockey crowd might not realize what I'm talking about, but over in the NBA, the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic for an old ass player,
insane,
from the Lakers. And it was not well received. Of course, then the NBA rigged it so they got the number 1 overall pick. So very. Then
Kyrie got hurt. It was crazy what happened.
Yeah, but it was a disaster of a trade. Just they traded one of the top like 5 superstars in the game for a guy who is a very good defensive player who is broken also. So great job, guys. So, but Jason Robertson, he's not Luka Doncic, but like he's friggin' great. And
last week we were singing the praises of Mikael Granlund, right? He'd be a great addition for the Flyers, sure. great, stopgap, just like a, throw him in at center for a couple of years and then give him a 2-year contract worth like $6 million a year or something like that. And then sayonara, see ya. Thank you for your service. If they trade Jason Robertson to keep him, I mean, Steve, that would be, it wouldn't be, you're right. It wouldn't be on the level of Luka Doncic, but it would be very close to almost as foolish. Like that would be unbelievably foolish to do that. Just like logistically, how does it make sense? Like he's a young player and he's so good. He's proven for multiple years now. Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. I understand the Stars are frustrated, right? They keep losing to the goddamn Oilers in the playoffs. They can't make it to the Cup Final. And, it's just,
and granted,
I don't get it. Like
the Oilers, if you're going to lose to a team, lose to the team with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
It's okay.
Right? Like, there's a reason you lost, and it's because they have two of the top 5 players in the game on one team. Like, Draisaitl, I always come down, is he like top 5 or is he top 10? But regardless, like, he's unbelievable. They're both unbelievable. And I do want to get into that series in a minute, but yeah, Robertson, his name shouldn't even be out there. I mean, I wonder if he's the one leaking it at this point because he's tired of it, but like, Dallas got very messy very quickly. And you know what? I envy that team, but I also don't envy them when it comes to stuff like this, because if it was my team that even had the slightest hint of getting rid of a player like Jason Robertson, I would be screaming on this podcast right now.
Yeah, I can't even, I don't even want to know what the discourse is on Stars Twitter. I don't know if Stars Twitter exists, but if it does, I imagine there's a lot of rage. This has the potential to be one of the highlight moves of the offseason. If this ends up happening, if they end up moving Jason Robertson, that does absolutely have the potential to completely turn a fan base on its head. Really, the whole hockey world on its head, depending on what the trade is.
There's a lot of big things that could happen this offseason, because Marner's going to be a free agent, and that's going to be a huge signing.
And he's not staying. He's not staying in Toronto.
If he stays, it's insane. It doesn't make any sense. And then that Toronto's got some room to maybe like make a move somewhere, try something out new. And they want to try something new because they're sick and tired of losing in the playoffs. So, Toronto's going to be interesting. And then if something happens with Robertson, that's fascinating. So there's some really intriguing parts right out there right now. And I don't know, like, I wish if this was next year for the Flyers and they took some steps, I would be like, the Flyers have to get him. They have to be in on this.
Yeah.
But right now, before we know what the center position is looking like and all that, before we know what the goaltending is like, that's a big factor. I'm kind of like, I want to be in on this, but it's not time. It's the time isn't right, but man, I would freaking go nuts for Jason Robertson on the Flyers. Not only is he a high scorer, but he's durable. He played 74 games in 21-22, and then all 82 of the last 3 seasons. That is like, you have production and durability. That's unbelievable. Like, that's the combination.
I know you said durable, but for a second I thought you said adorable.
He is adorable.
He is pretty adorable.
Let me just pinch those cheeks.
He's a very cute boy. But he's durable for the most part. So I think that would be...
There's no for the most part. He's 3 straight seasons, full games played.
Yeah.
That's a durable player right there.
So listen, like, you're right. If this is next year's Flyers, I think you would have to consider it, right? But you're like, the center position has to be the Flyers' number 1 priority. Like, it has to be.
The center position.
I'm glad that they recognize it. I'm glad that they recognize it, because if that was not what was, like, they've come out and they've said how important it is for them to, shore out the middle of the ice, and they need to, like, there's still a lot of work to be done there. There's honestly any work to be done there. But if they had that situation figured out right now, I would say get after Jason Robertson. But like, who knows what they have up their sleeve in terms of getting a center. They might be willing to make a trade for someone who's established and is, a really, really good player and is going to command a huge AAV. Do you want to give that to a guy like Jason Robertson, who is awesome? Don't get me wrong, he's amazing, but like, do they want to give that to a wing? Because keep in mind, they have a lot of money allocated to the wing right now. Look at Travis Konechny. Matvei Michkov is going to get a huge contract. Could he be the first $10 million Flyer, Steve? Read about it on BroadStreetHockey.com.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like, these are things that the Flyers need to consider. They need to save some money for the center ice position, because that's where the money is. That's where you make your money as an NHL player, is if you play center. So maybe chill with the whole Jason Robertson discourse.
Chill out. Well, we're just talking about that team that the Stars lost to. And right now, it's not looking too good for the Oilers as they try to get over the hump against the Florida Panthers for the second year in a row playing them in the Stanley Cup Final. Started off great. Got that OT win in Game 1. Game 2 went to OT, almost pulled it out, but the rat Brad Marchand came through. What a steal that trade was for the friggin' Florida Panthers. But then Game 3 happened, and Florida, it looks like, got in their head.
Mm-hmm.
Florida dominated them in Game 3. There were line brawls. There was Corey Perry trying to start shit with somebody, and then that guy laughing in his face. Yeah. And
everyone was laughing in his face.
Everybody was, which was great, because Corey Perry sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I want the Oilers to win, but they have 2 guys that really friggin' suck on that team. Evander Kane and Corey Perry, like, guys I do not like. Mm-hmm. So I don't totally mind this, right? But it was pretty funny watching that last night. And Evander Kane, by the way, with just like that. Did you see when he whacked that guy in the face with his stick real casually and thought he got away with it, and he did not?
Dude, also Jake Wallman, piss baby. Yeah. Huge piss baby energy. Like, he was just ridiculous. That was nuts. So
Florida was living rent free in their heads throughout that game. And I remember a couple months back, we were on a podcast and I was talking about the Flyers being like modern bullies, it just kind of bullying other teams, but not in the way that the Broad Street bullies did, which was just beat the living shit out of them physically and they'll just wilt and die. It's just not how the game's played anymore. But you can get into guys' heads and dominate them like the Florida Panthers did to the Edmonton Oilers last night. And that's the kind of team. This is what I mean by modern bullies. They need to do what the Panthers were doing last night. And the Panthers were all in their head. Like the Oilers were not playing their game, which is a very fast, elite, flashy style of game when they're going. And they got the Oilers completely derailed. And quick shout out, by the way, to the weirdo who got into an Instagram fight with me over the clip about modern bullies for that game and called me a chooch, which that's a compliment as far as I'm concerned, because Carlos Ruiz from the 2008 Phillies had the nickname chooch. So thanks for the compliment.
I don't know what that even means. Real quick. I know I don't know if it was last week or the one before, we were talking about, would we want the Flyers to get Sam Bennett? And we both were like the player, don't want the Flyers to give him that contract. Steve, can we talk about the shift he had last night? The shift. That was some Mike Richards ass shit. That was an unreal shift.
If you could get me Sam Bennett from like 5 years ago, I might be in on something like that. But now at this point, I know the wear and tear that happens on those guys. And Sam Bennett's going to sign a big contract and somebody's going to regret that in 2 to 3 years.
It's going to end horribly.
First 2 years, it's going to be great. He's going to bring piss and vinegar. He's going to bring some dirty hits that work out in your favor. Mike Richards did the same thing. I adore Mike Richards, but we all remember the hit he laid down in Florida, right? Like Mike Richards could do some dirty shit and he was our guy, but he had some dirty shit in him. And it's funny to bring up Mike Richards today, because I believe it's the anniversary of the 2005 Calder Cup winning team.
It is.
Which was basically like little NHL that season because it was the lockout. But Carter and Richards, those guys who won at every level, won at the AHL, and then they traded him away and they won at the NHL level again. Who thought? Oh wow. But Bennett, that was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. He's a hell of a player, and he is the kind of player I like to see on the Flyers, where he is a guy who can kick your ass. He's been dominating in the playoffs this year, and that's a modern bully. That's a guy who is getting in your head and beating you in every way. And I love players like that. I just know in a couple years he is just not gonna. Yeah. He's going to wear down real quick.
The contract is going to age poorly, and he is going to age poorly. So I just listen. If the Flyers could sign Sam Bennett to a 3-year contract with an 8 or 9 million, maybe not 9, with an 8 million AAV, let's fucking do it. Let's roll.
I'm in on that, but
he does not want that. He wants term. That's going to happen. And honestly, I'm not convinced he's even going to leave Florida. Why would you leave Florida, especially if they win the Stanley Cup this year? So
the taxes, Quigs. It's all about the taxes. And he gets that tax benefit there. And he gets the most humid, sunny environment you can imagine. Hey, if you can put up the humidity and you like heat, that's great. That ain't me. It sounds bad to me. But some guys freaking love it, especially Russians. That's my number one fear is Matvei Michkov gets the lure of Florida, but he loves it here. I'm never scared of anything Matvei Michkov. He loves it here, and we make him love it here. We're going to surround him with tools. We're going to win Stanley Cup with Matvei Michkov. But I digress. Bennett's going to get paid. He's going to get like 7 years from somebody that wants to make a splash. It's honestly, you got that Mitch Marner money coming out, right? And Mitch Marner probably going to sign somewhere like freaking Utah or something. I could see Toronto making that Sam Bennett run.
Toronto wants dogs on their team.
They want dogs. And you know what? Toronto, it might be worth a 7-year albatross for those 2-3 years if he can get them over the hump and win a cup.
So far, since Toronto lost in the first round again, I have... just listening to 32 Thoughts and just all these different hockey podcasts.
The greatest meltdown in the world is the Toronto sports world.
It seems like so many people are already linking Sam Bennett to Toronto and Brad Marchand to Toronto. And could you imagine if they just went out and got the two guys who have killed them more than anyone else and just said, like, you know what? No, you're ours. No, if you can't beat them, join them, right? If you can't beat them, sign them. So that would be fun. I would love that if that happened.
I'm really enjoying the Willy Wonka pose tonight.
It's a good pose.
It's a good pose. There you go. I'm enjoying it because I'm just enjoying the chaos from other teams right now and the unknown from the Flyers. But other teams are chaotic. Toronto is so chaotic. And yeah, you know what? I think they should get Sam Bennett. I think they should go out and do it. And they might as well, they got to do a make or break thing at this point because you have Matthews, right? Who's just an unbelievable talent, although he doesn't really seem to do it in the playoffs. And Bennett seems like the kind of guy who will go in there and just like kind of flip over a table, right? And like flip out in a good way to help put your team over the top. You've got Carlson, right? Who's just like,
you good?
Yeah, I thought.
You just went. You went silent. I was like, oh my God.
I said the wrong name. I get my my Eastern Europeans mixed up. They got Nylander, right? Nylander's just unbelievable. Yeah. Like they have so much talent. And again, I think it's the wrong long-term move for them to get Bennett, but it might be a great short-term move that they have to pay for later.
I think if you're Toronto, you got to do anything. You just can't do the same thing. You know, they have to do something different. If they stay the course, then, you know, it's not going to go well. It's going to go. We've seen it. Like they can't stay the course. A lot of things need to change.
They can't stay the course anyway because they can't afford Marner at this point. They have too many big contracts, and Marner's going to get paid, and he's going to get paid somewhere weird.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you think the Oilers? You think the Oilers bounce back in Game 4?
Honestly, I think they do. Because I think they're lucky that there's random 2-day gap between games is happening when it is. They're not even traveling. So I don't know why there's a two-day gap. But because of that, I think that gives them a little extra time to chill out and, you know, get back on track. And I think I do. I still think Florida wins the series, but I think it gets tied up at 2-2 after Game 4.
I would love that. I want this to go the distance because those first 2 games were outstanding. And you know what? 3 was a lot of fun too because we saw some Donniebrooks. We love a Donnybrook.
It was awesome. I do love a Donnybrook.
A Donnybrook. And it's just fun to say Donnybrook.
It is.
It is. So we're going to end our show with a topic that is going to heat us up a little bit to end it. And it's no surprise that the Calder ended up going to Lane Hudson, which is just...
We knew that was going to happen, though, so...
I hate that name so much. It's so annoying, but we knew it was going to happen. He had a great year, especially for a defenseman with the points he put up. So Lane Hudson wins it. Dustin Wolf comes up second in Calder voting. Macklin Celebrini comes in third. And poor Matvei Michkov comes in fourth with 645 points, 0 first place votes, 8 second place, 26 third place, 151 fourth place, and 6 fifth place votes. 6 fifth place votes. And thanks to Thomas Williams over at BSH, we have identified the following jackasses that voted him fifth. Okay. We got Justin Pelletier in Raleigh, Bruce Garrioch in Ottawa. I'm very disappointed in Bruce over here because he's a pretty steady reporter right there. I'm disappointed. Josh Yohe in Pittsburgh. Really, Josh? Just the most Pittsburgh homer BS. It just continues. He had Cutter ahead of him.
Yeah, I was about to say that's wild behavior by Mr. Josh.
Mild Bill Gauthier, quitter Gauthier, if you will. He's just it's audacious because Gauthier, I think, had 20 less points or like 19 less points on the season than Michkov. Just an insane choice right there. But sure, haters gonna hate, and that's Mr. Pittsburgh for you. Joe Reedy of the Associated Press. Come on, Joe. Come on. Bell Fraser in Utah. Bell Fraser is a strange name. I've definitely not seen that combination before. And My favorite name, and is this an AI? I've never seen a name like this in my life. Tab Bamford of Bleacher Report.
I can confirm that's a real person.
That's a real person.
Do not agree with that take at all.
A horrible take.
A rough take by Tab.
Tab Bamford.
Do not agree with that take whatsoever.
I'm Tab Bamford, and this is Jackass.
That's hilarious. That's really good, Steve. That's the best. That's awesome. Well done.
All right, and now I'm going to fire a rocket out of my ass and head on to bed.
I don't know if that's you actually signing off on the podcast or if that's you just still imitating Bam Margera.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's a bummer that Michkov didn't win the Calder. It's a bummer that he didn't even finish in the top 3.
Yeah.
What's not a bummer is that Matvei Michkov is the best Flyers rookie since Michael Remberg, and the future is real damn bright with him in it. So we love you, Mish. You're number 1 in our hearts.
We do stay. Listen, at the end of the day, there's a good chance, Steve, that he could be the best player from that class. Honestly, there's a real chance that could happen. He's gonna be the
only guy.
He's gonna be so mad about this.
Oh, he's gonna be real mad.
He's gonna be angry. This is gonna be a chip on his shoulder for the whole season.
He just has to not get eaten by a bear in a lake or anything like that. Okay, he just has to stay safe and then come out with piss and vinegar next season. But it's a bummer. But you know what? Yeah, I think the only guy that I'm concerned about being better in the long term than him is Macklin Celebrini, because Celebrini's outstanding. And
he's great, yeah.
San Jose, if they get Misa or Schaefer, whoever they get, they're going to have another outstanding player. Will Smith's very good. San Jose is a team that I feel like in like 2 or 3 years, we could be talking about them being very dangerous.
They're going to be nuts. They're going to be back to like those San Jose teams when they had Jimbo, and then Marlowe and
Jumbo Joe,
and like, dude, they're gonna be so good.
They're gonna be so good. They're what Chicago probably should have been. You know,
probably
Chicago like should have been building up around Bedard, and now people aren't even sure if Bedard's a center. Bedard was supposed to be like the next one, and now he might not even be a center.
He's trash. He's trash.
He's no Matvei Michkov.
They should trade him to the Flyers.
They should trade him to the Flyers, and we'll get him straight. You know,
we'll take out the trash.
Dickie Tox over here and Matty Mish. We're going to get them all settled and fixed up, you know?
I believe it.
Yeah, I believe it. I want to believe. Okay, that's the new Flyperbole shirt. It's the X-Files. I want to believe on the Flyperbole right there. I want to believe. And I've had a lot of, snappy ones tonight. It's been a good one. Maybe it's the early in the week. Maybe I'm well rested. Who knows? But I need to sign this off because my face is very red and I need to put my fan back on. So it's time to sign off, gang. Thanks so much for listening. If you have any feedback for us, the best place is social media, and the best place on there is Blue Sky. Quigs, where can people find you on the socials?
Brian Quigs at the Z. Thank you.
Oh, wow. How about that? Wow. And join me over in Flavortown. You can find me at Flyperbole or at Estee Bombas for hockey purposes. Make it Flyperbole. It's Flyperbole on Instagram, Flyperbole on TikTok. We always put out a little clip from the show most weeks, so you can always see a clip of that over on Instagram. If you're just listening to this on the audio and you want to see our beautiful faces and don't want to watch an entire YouTube video of it, you could just check out the Instagram for that. Be sure to get your tickets for the Broad Street Hockey and PHLY draft party coming up at the end of the month. It's going to be a great damn time over at Chickies and Pete's in South Philly. So be sure to come out to that. We got stickers. Kelly just got the stickers in, so we got lots of stickers for y'all if you come down. So I'm very excited about that. And any other stuff to plug? Well, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to give the video a like and say hi in the comments. I'm probably not going to be in the comments, unfortunately, because my mental health dictates that I'm not going to go in. But if you say hi, I'd appreciate it. But the like is good enough for me. So be sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, all that bullshit. You guys rock. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow, 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 wow.